Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 14th, 2022, so I got a different sort of project that I'm working on today, and I'll turn the camera on so we could see. So some of the equipment I'm going to be using today are Optimus Maximus hooked up to our dump trailer, and I do have Pepe over here to help out with bringing supplies along the way. And I'll probably be using the Hulk over here today to hook on a tree puller as well, but I'm not pulling trees. So the project that we started yesterday, Thea and I, is removing some fencing that's about 18 years old now. So this is some fencing that we placed, and this is the fencing near the large, so there's a large Hugelkultur pit underneath this area, and there's a big slope as we're heading to the west. The ground level drops off precipitously here. Well, not precipitously, it drops off pretty significantly. So one of the things I did do in order to make more growing spaces was along the fence here, I build up the soil gradually. First I dug down and buried trees underneath this whole area, and then I started building the soil on top of it and lots of wood chips and all, and then I planted all along the fence line here. Yesterday I took Elon, the Takushi TB290. Thea and I went ahead and scooped in and basically broke down a lot of our fig trees and our elderberry plants and many of the irises and ground cover that we had all along in here. And we took Elon and we reached over, tried to pull as much of the soil back so that as I take out the fencing here, the soil doesn't go down onto the neighbor's property very much. Now I'll be able to come over here and reach over with Elon again after the fencing material boards are out of here. But part of the job today is get as many of these boards out of here so my neighbor can mow along this edge here bit by bit. And then I'll redress this whole area here. So sorry I didn't shoot any video of this area, but these are pressure treated 4x4 posts that were put in, I think 18 years ago. Pressure treated 2x4s, and you can see they're just all broken down. See all along the fencing, all along the border that I put up here years ago. And I'm not going to take it all down today. My goal is just to try to get this back part down so that the neighbor doesn't have an unsightly area here, and it's not affecting his mowing as well. So the fence is all on our property, but some of this material may start to fall onto his property, so we can take Elon and just sort of like push it back onto our side here and then start some growth along the edges here, more of the elderberries as we've had along the way. So that's what I'm working on today. So here we go. Okay, one of the things that I like to do is create Hugelkultur pits, which is, Hugelkultur is just earth-covered wood. Now, most of the material inside of the dump trailer here is cedar, but it is completely breaking down. There are some 2x4s that are pressure treated, but they're just completely rotting away. There are some small stainless steel nails. But all of this material is just rotting completely away. So one of the things that I'd like to do is, instead of burning wood or having it go to an incinerator, although there are some harmful agents in pressure treated boards, I'm not overly concerned about the small volume. And so down in the forest in zone 5, I have lots of the grapevines and branches, mostly grapevine material, that I want to bury as well. So what I'll do is I'll take Elon here, the Takushi TB290, I'll change the grading bucket over to the excavation bucket, and I'll go down there and excavate some, create a nice deep hole, and get myself organized here, and then we'll get that material and put it into the hole, and then the material that comes out of the hole is, that area is not the nicest gravel, but it's gravel. And I need some more gravel for the access roads. Okay, it's hard to tell just how deep it is. It's pretty dry, a lot of sand. There's some gravel on the top of it, but lots of sand down in there. I'm gonna go get Optimus Maximus. Elon did a great job here. And here's the pile. And I've got really, this will work out pretty darn nicely, smoothing out the surface of some of those places which just is all bony rocks and all. So doing this will really pay off. So we sequester the carbon, we bury all of the noxious material around in here, and I better just go and get the equipment. And I'm real careful to stay far enough away from the trees here that I want to save. These 3 trees right here, and I'll just work my way around in here. So this is caving in now. Better go get the tractor and the dump trailer. Well, it's the next morning, and I thought I'd share with you what we accomplished yesterday. So we did get all the fence boards down. I ended up leaving the posts. Now, the first post was rotted through, and the windstorm snapped it off down there. And I thought all of those pressure treated posts would be bad, but they seem pretty solid. So I'm going to keep those because it'd be nice to be able to use those posts for further fencing. So today we'll try and see if we can straighten these posts up some, get them more in alignment again the way they were. And I'll take Elon and I'll pull back the base of some of this soil that you could see, and it's got onto my neighbor's property line here. And this is as far as I'm going today. We're going to leave the rest of the fence up there. But you can see the depth of the material that I've been building up over the years. And the goal is to have this slope so it pitches, so we save the water on the property, and it goes down into this drainage swale and then down into pond 5 there. And this is a swale that collects everything that isn't collected by the rest of the swales up above on the property, and it makes its way down here. And then I've got it banked up next to the property line here, and the water comes down where we are here, works its way around out through the swales, and then we bring it back east again as we go further south. So let's get on Pepe, and we'll take a look at where we are down in the forest there with the wood material. Since Mini-Me is still out here right now, so this is a Kubota B2601. This is Thea's tractor. This little land pride grapple, as you could see, I was able to use this grapple to go ahead and grab a lot of the fencing boards and all. It just saves me so much work having this little grapple. Now I've got the big grapple that goes on the track loader on the Hulk, which is really good for the really big meaty things that have got to be done. But for many things, this is great. And this Mini-Me, this B2601, has been absolutely fantastic. We're using it for many more jobs than I thought I would. It's so powerful for such a compact tractor, and I can get into tight spots, and I'll be using it further down in the forest. So let's head down there and fire up the little Pepe here. Absolutely love working in the forest. So this is a spot where the sand and gravel were piled temporarily. All of the piles that you saw me take from in the forested area, and you can see there's still tons of huge grapevines around, but they're attached to a couple of dead trees, very large trees, and I don't want to grab a hold of those and start pulling on them because those trees would come right down on me. But you should be able to appreciate all these grapevines in here. So the fencing boards, which are cedar, and then the support or the purlins that attached to the pressure treated 4x4 posts are 2x4 pressure treated boards, and they're all decomposing. So they're way down in the bottom down there. And I think what I'll do is I'll take mini me down here through the forest, since there's still enough of a void here that I can put more material in here. I did take a couple of scoops of the gravel or the sandy material here because that'll work its way down in as I pack more material in here. But I'll be able to work my way around on the forest floor here and pick up more of the material and deposit it into this area. The topsoil material here is a material that I'll use to put back on top of this afterwards. So this is what I call a hugelkultur pit. Now this is the first time I put any pressure treated material down into a hugelkultur pit. But all of this woody material, most people that you see that operate heavy equipment, they put it into a great big pile and they burn it. Excuse me. Where I see I had issues. One, I had old fencing boards that needed to be taken down, and they could either go to a transfer station and go to a landfill, or go to the energy recovery place, which is just going to be incinerated and it'll make some electricity. Or I could bury it on site and capture that carbon and create more of a moisture retaining section underneath the ground. And the gravel or sandy material, whatever it is that I'm excavating out, can be used on different parts of the property. The topsoil that I pull off the surface can be used on some parts of the property, and the gravel material can be used for other places. Now in the videos in the past, you see me take stone walls and stone piles that were piled up here for many, hundreds of years here. And I've made access roads with all of that stony material. But those access roads with all that really bony, rocky material is very tough on your equipment and tough on your feet when you're going for walks. So I took that pile that I excavated out of the pit and I brought it over here. And although I wanted to go further with it, I have many more pits, hugelkultur pits. So there's lots and lots of woody debris every place around here. And I'll dig out the stumps that are from the dead trees as well. But as I clean up the area, I'll be able to take and use that material to cover the bony, rocky spots here and all. So this is as far as I got. The year before last, I took stone walls, so there's 2.5, maybe 3 foot of stone below this, and then I put some soil on top of it so I wasn't beating up my tracks or my tires so much. But now I need to come in. It'd be ideal if I had some more smaller stone to put in here first, and then bring up some more of the gravel, or this is predominantly sand here. So here I'm dealing with one issue: old fencing material, or old boards on the place, and the debris that's being left on the forest floor from all of the decomposing things that I just don't have the time to run through a wood chipper. I can take all this material, let it decompose underneath the ground, help to retain water, sequester carbon, and at the same time get other raw materials such as the sand and gravel that's below the surface, and use that on different parts of the property as well. So I think that's about it. I just wanted to show you the process where I want to get as many uses out of a potential problem. So that fencing that's 18 years old was decomposing. It helped us to build up the property soil in that area. There's Hugelkultur Pit, just like we made here, from all trees and stumps and that underneath that whole area. Wood chips were piled on top of it, broken down over time. And that's going to be a place where our nursery was last year, and we'll see what ends up happening in that area. But I wanted to get that old fencing down. That old fencing was a problem. Trying to come up with a solution, which it didn't end up with a burning pile or going to a landfill. And all of those materials will gradually be broken down underneath the ground. Yes, there are some pressure treated 2x4s in there. It's a small amount. They're all decomposing already. But we're able to take some material off the forest floor. Another problem, get it into the pit. We'll get that pit covered up after I get a little more material in there as well, and we're able to use the material that we excavated out of the pit. So just wanted to show you the process that we go through as opposed to putting it all in a great big pile and burning it. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I did make a video in the past about Hugelkultur pits, and I made some videos about Hugelkultur if you wanted to check the channel for more of those topics that I've covered in the past. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.